Afternoon. Pulitzer Prize-winning historian Laurel Thatcher Ulrich offers a look at gender in Puritan society in her article, John Winthrop's City of Women. She looks to dispel the myth of patriarchal domination of women in early Puritan Massachusetts. She uses the governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony, John Winthrop's personal writings to support her findings. She starts by setting the record straight regarding the initial role of women in Puritan society. Rather than viewing women as weak and submissive, she argues, quote, "It would be hard to find another time and place in American history where the theological speculations of a housewife could carry such political weight." Far from endorsing female subjection, the Puritan movement initially encouraged female assertiveness, unquote. She also argues that Winthrop fully understood the importance of women in Puritan society. Do not think that Ulrich will offer a story contradicting the attempts of Puritan leadership to oppress women. Rather, she argues quite the contrary. Ulrich points out that the ideas of the Reformation fostered change in the way females saw their roles in society, an ideal not limited to Puritans. Many women no longer viewed themselves as housewives or homemakers, but as those who offered valuable contributions to thought, both intellectual and religious. Winthrop, in his attempts to maintain social order, saw the power and strength of women and sought to prevent the spread of such influence. James Savage, in discussing Winthrop's journal, contends that Winthrop sought to maintain an order by offering teachings which supported traditional roles for women as caregivers and mothers. Winthrop thought if he made traditional roles biblically mandated and highly blessed, that women would come to embrace only these roles and stay out of theology except to echo the church's teachings. Social order to Winthrop was based on everyone knowing their role and not stepping outside of them. According to Savage, Winthrop saw accurately that if women looked beyond their traditional roles, they would develop independent thought and upset the Puritan social order he was trying to develop. Ulrich uses two women as an example for such disruptive dissent that threatened male control of Puritan society, Anne Hutchinson and Mary Dyer. Per historian David Como, it was an antinomian movement that facilitated the rise of women. He described the movement as one that pitted Puritan covenant of works against the antinomian free grace theology, which maintained salvation is attained through faith in God's grace rather than a covenant of laws to obey him. Winthrop and other Puritan leaders saw this as a threat to society. If Puritans did not need a covenant of works with God to guarantee salvation, then Winthrop's society and the church's control over it would fall apart. Anne Hutchinson was well known for preaching free grace theology from her home and challenging the church's teaching. She had many followers, and because of this, she was excommunicated and forced to leave Massachusetts. Interestingly, the idea of free grace theology is preeminent in religious fundamentalism today. Mary Dyer, a supporter of Hutchinson and an eventual Quaker, was also targeted by the puritanical powers of Massachusetts Bay Colony. Dyer initially championed free grace theology and was expelled from the colony. She went to England, became a Quaker, then returned. She was eventually executed for violating Puritan law that forbade Quakerism in the colony. The resolve of Winthrop and other church leadership to maintain power and suppress independent thought, especially in women, is seen in Winthrop's order to exhume Dyer's stillborn baby who was born with deformities. Winthrop used the stricken baby to condemn Dyer for her beliefs. The baby, described by Winthrop as having a face but no head, ears stood upon shoulders and were like an ape's. It had no forehead, but eyes, 4 horns, hard and sharp. Instead of toes, it had on each foot 3 claws. This horrid desecration of her child was to Winthrop a sign of an unholy hand in Dyer's life. Ulrich argues, regardless of oppression, Puritan women were redefining roles of gender. The scenario depicted in Winthrop's writings and American history to follow shows rethinking of gender roles in religion and society. Puritan society was, only for a time, able to oppress the power and influence of women. Women, however, thanks to reformational thought, saw a new role, a new value, and a new future beyond the constraints of puritanical society. Thank you.